red, hit the little red button. All right, it is official. We are going live. And hello and welcome. It is Sunday night here where I am at, where Abby is. Welcome to the first installment of, like, I guess what are we going to call it? Kluby snack time, Sunday night snack time, Kluby snack time, whatever it is. This is like another Get A Klu in 52, but it's totally different. And this is likely going to be the best thing I've ever done. Because my co-author this year is Abby Klubeck. Abby, how are you? Welcome to these, weekly tip reading things. How are you? It's nice to see your lovely face.
Yeah, it's nice to see yours. I didn't see it like 20 seconds ago when you're in my room. It's really weird. Like in the same house.
Yeah. So, and I love
on one of these. I've never been on one. It's so
cool. Yeah. Well, speaking of never being on one, I could have said that as well, like 5 years and 1 week ago. So one of the things that I'd like to communicate really quickly is that this is my 6th consecutive year. I'm starting my 6th year in a row of doing a weekly live stream every single week. And just let me go through this really quick. The very first Get A Klu in 52 had 5 categories, right? It was accountability, communication, marketing, networking, and sales. Then we did the Entrepreneur Edition with my friend and yours co-author Vipul Dayal. The Entrepreneur Edition had 5 categories. It was personal branding, business acumen, business ownership, leadership and influence, and work-life balance. Then I came out with this thing called the Integrity Game, my first best-selling new release on Amazon. And this introduces the 10-point model that allows me to deliver soft skills for strong leaders, teams, and organizations. And integrity ended up being the very first section in the book that I did with Sue. Sue's here with me, but I'm going out of order now. And after the Integrity Game, I did the Coaches Edition. Then I did the Speaker Edition with Sue. And now here we are. Kluby snacks. All right. So I got all that stuff out of the way. Normally these Get A Klu in 52s. What I'm trying to say is I've done this every single week for over 5 years. That's 250, 60 something, whatever. And I've never been more excited than I am tonight. Abigail, you hear these things going on in the background. You've grown up with Dad being a personal and professional growth guy. You've kind of absorbed a lot of stuff through osmosis that, we don't know. Like, is she getting it? Is she not getting it? Well, Kluby snacks, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes, it is.
Proof is in the pudding. So many wonderful things come out over the course of these 52 snacks, 48 of which you've responded to. I'm going to set up how the book works in a minute. But first, let's acknowledge the people that are here with us online. I don't know where Charlie went, but Charlie was here a minute ago. But let me go ahead and say hello. Sue, let me welcome you as an Integrity Game certified coach. Sue, I had a feeling that you would show up as well, so I've got a banner ready for you. You're Integrity Game certified. Here comes Charlie. You're Integrity Game certified coach, and you're the co-author of last year's Get A Klu in 52. And we just got done, me and you, Sue, 52 weeks in a row. We were right here on StreamYard. It was a different day, a different time. But all the way from Australia. And so before that, you were like a fan. You would show up to these things when I was doing them the years before. Then you were co-authored with me. And so you have a special place in your heart for what Abigail's about to go through. Yeah. Do you want to say hello real quick? And then I'll ask Patty to say hello.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to both of you in bringing this together. And Abby, I'm sure you will absolutely love the journey. I think you've had a lot of fun to date already, seeing some of your video clips. So you and your dad putting this together. Yeah, amazing. So just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, we're going to have a thank you for Rakesh in momentarily. But the another person I'm really proud and excited to welcome to tonight's jam, Patty. You've been following my journey forever and then some. And so I had my banner for you. Where'd my banner for you go? There it is. Patty, the inner business coach. And by the way, one of the things that Kluby Snacks wants to do is make it easy and fun to look within. And so who better to welcome tonight than the inner business coach? Patty, how are you?
I am awesome, and I'm so excited to be here. Reading the book was just the best thing ever. And Abby, you have really bloomed in this book, and I'm so excited to be here with you on the opening.
Yeah, Patty, you have a special place in this series. You've contributed so much in terms of, like back cover copy and describing the book and advanced praise. So we really appreciate you so much. And Charlie, you're here as well. Charlie, the Global Connector. I had a feeling Charlie would show up, so I have a banner ready for Charlie as well. Charlie, let me ask you to say hello real quick, and then I will. I'm going to start with you on my series of acknowledgments. I have so many people to thank before we get into the tip reading. Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you, Coach Jeff, and hello, Patty, and hello, Sue, hello, Abby.
Hi.
I've got all my angels around me this morning. It just makes the week and day all bloody beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a real honor to be here, Coach Jeff. And Abby, reading the book, you put an extra play on it, and the wittiness and a lot of fun to read. I actually enjoyed it, and it's quite an honor to have been part of this journey with you guys as well.
Well, Charlie, a lot of times we want to save the best for last. And so on my ticker tape parade of gratitude, are you guys ready for this? I created a ticker tape parade of gratitude, and it goes a little something like this. So huge thanks to our editor, Patty McKenna, the cover design by Sean O'Connor, interior design by Stella, the one and only Stella, forward by Abby Klubeck, which we're going to get back to in a minute. And then the marketers on the team, Edgars, Vicky, Rakesh, Leslie, Kate, and Hawk. And then all of the people that wrote advanced praise for the book that shows up on the inside cover of Kluby Snacks. Mrs. Wilkerson, Abigail's 4th grade teacher, Diane Forrester, Lisa Reed, Bennett Flicker, Mrs. CJ, Miss Jaravata, Abigail's 4th grade teacher, Jason Surya from First Command Financial, Deanna, one of the most amazing podcast hosts you'll ever meet in your life, Laura Leach, executive and career coach with Meredith Consulting, Patty Blake, the inner business coach, Jim Rastusha, Vistas chair, Martine Lopez into human performance, Jennifer Holtzpool with engagement, PR and marketing, Rena and Vipul Dial of Primrose Schools, Melody Abuzari, she's a student at San Diego State University, the Admiral James McNeil, Sue Matheson, the CEO Saver, my friend and yours, Joey Santani, Brent Lane, Personality of the Year at Cat Country 98.7, and special thanks to Charlie, the global connector. And I say special thanks to you, Charlie, among all of those thank yous, because I mean it. Thank you. I really am grateful about the time people took. And Charlie, in particular, you were just such a fan. All the way back when I was doing flyby coaching videos, I was flying around the world, and I'd shoot these videos and I'd post them once a week. You would chime in online, and I don't even know if you and I have ever met in person, to be honest with you. But online, you've become such a fan of what I've been doing, from flyby coaching videos to all of these Get A Klu in 52s. And then you would always be like really eager to get a Kluby snack, and you had so much fun with it. And Patty, I'd be like, Patty, write this down. Charlie's going to want this later on. And okay, and you guys are smiling and nodding. And so I really owe you a special thanks, because you put a Microsoft Word document together and you started cutting and pasting and populating, and then you sent me this thing, and that's how we got to go. We wouldn't be here without you, Charlie, because when I decided that I wanted to do a Kluby Snacks book, I decided I want to brand Kluby Snacks. I want to institutionalize Kluby Snacks. I'm tired of them hiding under the radar, being embedded in all the other tips. They'd get the center stage. I want to see if, why not? I think they're good. My Kluby Snacks are good. And I see all these other quotes rolling around out there. So that's how this whole thing got started. And thank God for Abigail, because it would have been a disaster without Abigail. I was entertaining myself, right, as I do so often. And I was smart enough to be like, hey, Abigail, can you help me? Can you help me? And I'm going to turn it over to you here in a second, Abigail, but I just want to give the thanks to Charlie, because what I did was I went to the original document that Charlie had accumulated. He shared it with me. I started pouring and collecting all the other snacks. Do I even have 52? How will I group them and categorize them? What's the through line? What are the themes? Oh no, I'm too close to this. I'm never going to be able to figure this out. Abigail, will you help me? So on my transition to getting to Abigail, Charlie, do you understand the special thank you? We just wouldn't be here without you. Simple Microsoft Word doc, your simple fanaticism, but it's legendary. The way that you helped us get this project off the ground is amazing. It might not, I'm sure it wouldn't happen without you, Charlie.
Thank you, Coach Jeff. It was really an honor. I just like the underlining tones of the Kluby Snacks when you got them, the meaning and how to actually interpret them. And, during our Get A Klu in 52 series, you'd always drop one, and then I'd actually note it. But at the end of the day, there's so much mind feed within these Kluby Snacks.
Yeah.
And then, you go back and then analyze them, and there's quite a lot of introspection within them, underlying in them. And, I actually have to acknowledge your play with words. You're a wordsmith par excellence. And I actually do enjoy it, when you rattle off like half the dictionary in synonyms and just saying one word, and I go, wow. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Charlie. And I think the thing that I'm going to lock in on to segue to Abigail, because I want to bring Abigail center stage. I mean, that's become what this thing is all about. It's Abby's book, right? And what you said, Charlie, was the openness to how they're open to interpretation. And so I want everybody, as I begin to introduce Abigail, thank you, Charlie. And by the way, for anybody out there that's watching, if you want to join us live every week, this is going to be the conventional URL, tinyurl.com/klubisnack1. And then next week it'll be 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up to 52. So you can come on into the studio and hang out with us and talk with us and bring your beverage of choice, and no crumbs though. No crumbs left behind. We have to eat it all up. So having said that, we really want to introduce Abby Klubeck here because, when I wrote these Kluby snacks, I didn't have a daddy-daughter project in mind. I didn't think it was going to be a parenting book. I thought it was going to be personal professional growth and mind feed and thought leadership and coaching and accountability. And sure, all of that's in there. But the thing is, these Kluby snacks, once they leave my mouth or my brain and then they get consumed, just like you said, Charlie, they're completely open to interpretation. And wow, did I find that out when I asked Abigail to look through them, because then it started to go in a different direction. So Abby, from when I asked you to help me get it down from over 100 to 52, you want to talk about your experience a little bit before we get into the actual book?
Yeah, I was sitting in my bed and my dad calls me and he's on his drive back from Vegas and he was just going on about this whole like Kluby snack thing and his idea or lack of idea for said book. And he was like, I sent you the list. Can you just go through them? And he's like, pick a random one, pick a random Kluby snack and read it. And I pick a random one and I read it and I can't now recall what it was. I would rather fail in my commitment to laughing than succeed in my commitment to suffering. And I read that and I was like, oh, we could change this to loving. And he's like, oh, like I see it. Like when we were going back and forth and like, yeah, like we should change it. And then he's like, well, do you know what you would like say about this? Like, would you have anything to write? And I'm like, yeah, I would have a lot to say about all of these. And he's like, Monday, he's like, I'm coming back right now. Monday, we're meeting at the dinner table. Like we're going through. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, I have an idea for the cover. And I was like, I have an idea for the cover. And I was like, can I tell? And he's like, no, let me tell you my idea for the cover. And I was like, okay, like, let's hear your idea for the cover. And it was an idea. I have an idea. It was there. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, Dad. And then my idea was actually exactly, this is exactly what I had described. I have the proof, but exactly what I described. And he went silent on the call. And you were like, wow, that is it. And then here we are. That was the switch, this phone call.
Can I elaborate for just a second? And I'm going to screen share so people can see what we're getting at here. Real quick. There's the cover, so people could take a look. And by the way, this is not just the cover, but this is the PDF version. Can everybody see my screen? And so we'll be. And I'm going to get back to a lot of this stuff, but like Abigail's the idea that I had for a cover was so bad. It's okay. Like, it's okay. That's part of why I asked Abigail to get involved. Like, tell me how bad. Tell me how cheesy. Dad, I want you to like dad me. Like, tell me how bad it is. But I was basically just going to ride Scooby-Doo's coattails. Like, Kluby snacks, Scooby snacks. So let's take Scooby-Doo's face out and put my face in and just pray on all of that branding until they tell me I can't do it anymore. So I was scrolling. This is what I was going to do. I was going to try to make that. Like, I was going to do something like this. And Abigail's like, no. Zero
people would buy that.
Yeah. And so, and the other thing is that you're understating, Abigail, is that when you did communicate the idea, you said, no, Dad, you've always had your cartoon. I want my cartoon. Oh, yeah. And we're standing in the kitchen and we're wearing chef's gear and we're holding a tray of cookies. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Like, passing on the family recipe, recipe. Anyway, you guys, the whole thing hit me, and like everything I'd been thinking about Kluby snacks all the way up until it just took a different turn. And so I do want to give myself a little bit of credit instead of like digging in and saying, no, that's not my idea. That's not what I need your help with. I just completely surrendered to whatever direction Abigail was envisioning. And I was so excited that I like, wow, this could be a really healthy project for Abigail and I. And it's turned out to be all of that and then some. So the thank yous are scrolling across the board. You guys see who Abigail is. And Abigail, is there anything else that you'd want to say before we actually get into? Well, what I want to do right now is segue, because it's not just passing on the family recipe, but then we got the cute idea to honor Mom, because the original Kluby snack, you guys, the original Kluby snack is my wife's homemade cookies. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing. And I've always gotten such incredible feedback on my wife's cookies that early on in my, like 20, 30 years ago, we called them Kluby snacks. And that was like before I even started calling my own motivational quotes Klubi snacks. So the thing is, people say, what's in this? What's in this? And I would always joke around like, can't tell you because Marianne would kill me, secret recipe. And we never gave the recipe away. But somehow we convinced Marianne to let us put the original Klubi snack recipe into the book. So that's just one reason alone to get the book. $20.25 on Amazon right now. It's the #1 new selling best release in parenting girls category. But it's really cute. Like my wife is, she doesn't need the limelight. She doesn't need to be out front and center. She's like, but she's the rock. She keeps everything together and she's the reason for all of it. So the foreword is very simply the recipe. That's it. There's Klubi snacks. So you guys can make Klubi snacks at home. We think it's super cute, but we absolutely, none of us would be here without Marianne. And this whole project, Marianne's been a champion, like letting my daughter and I bond. You know what I mean? Like, letting it happen, letting this occur. She's been an absolute champion, supporting all of our energy together and all of our craziness and all of the attention it commands and the time that it takes. Marianne's been nothing but supportive, and anybody can do anything in life when you have a supportive spouse. And I'm the luckiest dude on the planet. So let's say that. Now, let me take a deep breath and ask, does anybody else have anything? So we've honored Marianne. We've honored all the help that we've got. Is there anything else to say before we get into, I guess we could do a little bit of an orientation of the book. I'm going to go back to screen sharing and show how this book is organized and what's in it up front that we're skipping over and that we're not going to read word for word. Let me go ahead and get into that. Let's just do this because it's already 8:16. And we're going to, not all the sessions are going to take this much time, because this is the very first one. But we do want to show people the word for word that we're not going to read tonight. So we start off with advanced praise. And again, thanks to Stella for the interior design. Patty, we led off with you because you've been so incredible writing back cover copy. And when you shared your draft of back cover copy this year, you said, use this as you wish, inside, outside, whatever you want. And then Jim Rastucci came up with something that we just thought was perfect for the back cover. So we wanted to put you in the primary position right here. The very first thing that anybody will read is from Patty Blakesley when they open our book. And then there's advanced praise. We really are grateful for these words. Every time I read one of these pieces of feedback, I was driven to tears, or I'd read it out loud to Abby, or I'd share via text as soon as these things came in. And so, Abigail, over 17 people read this book, at least enough of this book to offer advanced praise and take the time to write something for us in time to get it into the book. So there's all of that we're not going to read word for word. Then we got to thank Stella again for coming up with this menu, which is like, kind of bakery style, if you will. And what you can see is that we have, instead of 5 sections, we have 4 sections. And we're not calling them sections, we're calling them flavors. And it just turns out, wow. I wish the world would have been at the table with Abigail and I when we realized that a baker's dozen is 13 and 4 times 13 equals 52. Like, can you laugh at me, Sue? Like, I've been trying to jam 52 tips into 5 categories for 4 years, and it's always out of balance. But wait a second, all of a sudden my daughter comes along and 4 sections, baker's dozens. Anyway, so it's sometimes the answers are right in front of your face if you just let your children help you out, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, that's, I don't want to spoil alert, but my kids are doing a great job raising me. Spoiler alert for Klubi Stack 52. And so we're going to start here tonight in loving flavored. And then we're going to move on to ego flavored. And then we're going to get the second half of the year going with discipline flavored. And again, discipline, not like punishment, but discipline as a mindset, as a skill set, as an ability to delay gratification and so forth. And ego, not arrogance, but sense of self, right? And then, of course, integrity, so that I have some way, even if vaguely, to connect to what I do for a living. Because this is a deeply personal project. It's deeply emotional. I'm not going to get through any one of these sessions, let alone the year, without crying a lot. I'm going to wear it on my sleeve. I'm going to be my authentic self. I'm honored to be here with my daughter. She's going away to college in the fall, and this is one of my last shots to make lasting memories. And I'm not gonna throw away my shot, Abigail. So I can't thank you enough for being here. And then we've got dedications, of course, to Marianne. It's all for Marianne. None of this happens. My forever, including this book, is dedicated to Marianne. Charlie, I wrote a bunch about you right here inside the book as I was just speaking. All of my students, past, present, and future. And of course, AJ and Brody, most importantly, we need to thank your brothers, Abigail, for being the real men that they are, and never, ever, ever letting the brightness of your light believe that it dims theirs. They are real men that support and champion strong women, and that's what we believe in this house, is support powerful women at all times. So big thanks to your brothers. And then, of course, you did some neat stuff here. Do you want to talk about this at all, Abigail?
Well, as a joke, when my mom was like, who are you going to dedicate the book to? I was like, oh, like me, like dedicate it to me. But then I was thinking about it, and like while I was writing the book, it really did feel like I was dedicating this book to myself, because I was talking about all these things from my childhood and different like phases I went through, or whatever, that I hadn't really thought about since that time. I hadn't really gone back and revisited. So it did feel like I was tapping back into my younger self, my 7th grade self, my freshman self, my junior self, like all of these different versions of myself. And it did feel fitting to dedicate it to myself, but different versions of myself. So it started out as a joke, and then I was like, like this is what I want to do. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I did.
Yeah, and it came out beautiful. I can't read it without crying. And then, of course, Marianne's cookie recipe. And then, again, I'm definitely not going to read this word for word. And I have to tell everybody right now, I'm going to fall on the sword, get it out of the way. The worst part of this book is the introduction, because it's so damn long. And when I read it, I'm like, hey, my editor will clean this up. I'm just going to get it all out and write stream of consciousness and wear it on my sleeve with all of my tangents and all of my emotion and my dots and my all caps and my parenthetical references and all of my crap. Right. And I'm like, oh, my editor will clean it up. And then when I got the edited version back, I'm like, hey, you didn't clean it up. It's still kind of long-winded. She's like, yeah, Jeff, that way everybody will know exactly when Abigail's talking and when you're like, she left it in there because of how incredible Abigail is as a writer and how clean and simple and succinct and digestible her writing is. And it's like, hey, Jeff, if we were trying to make you look good, I would have cleaned it up. But we're going to make you look just completely exactly who you are, and your daughter's going to shine next to you. And that's just the way it should be. So we've got the cookie jar, which indicates what flavor we're in. And the very first snack, well, I'll go ahead and read word for word starting here. But before I read word for word, is there anybody else that has anything to say or ask or comment on before we get into word for word? Because I'm going to introduce the flavor, read the snack, and then make room for Abigail, who is going to read her response to said snack.
No, the snack in question.
Oh, the snack in question. Okay, there you go.
Why do you mess that up?
Anybody else have I take a deep breath and a sip of coconut water before we get into the...
No.
Okay, that's called dead air in radio terms, and that's all right. There we go. We got to keep it rolling. Here we go. All right. So let's see here. And by the way, just in case you guys didn't know, I'm Jeff Klubeck. I do some lecturing at San Diego State University. I'm founder of the Integrity Game and Get A Klu, Inc. And so what I'm going to do now is pop myself here and see if I can screen share again, and we'll get into the word for word. Abigail, I'll get out of my screen sharing after I read my part. Okay, here we go. All right, you guys, so here we go. Eternal thanks to M. Scott Peck, who gave us the road less traveled, and thus my working definition of love: the willingness to be vulnerable so that you or your beloved may grow. Add a nod to Eric Fromm, who first taught me the difference between having and being, and it seems that willingness isn't enough. The whole love conversation must focus on what we do more than what we want to do, wish to do, or are even willing to do, but what we actually do. I could argue that we all have love, the capacity to know and feel love, to describe love or to seek love, etc. But to be loving with a focus on our own behaviors, it seems to me, is what deserves a little more attention if this world is going to get any kinder, especially before Abby steps out into it. More of the be, less of the have. Willingness is required, but not sufficient. Here's a baker's dozen of loving flavored Kluby snacks. Over the years, Abby ate these up. And here we go. Kluby snack number 1, when you really need to keep it all together, love is the best adhesive. Abby?
Okay. Being so similar, my dad and I argue a lot. I don't blame him, though. I'd be upset, too, if my own child constantly outsmarted me. Can't imagine the pain. On nights when we'd argue, we'd be going back and forth for the better half of an hour, both of us refusing to see the other person's side. We're both quite stubborn, and because of this, our arguments rarely lead to a mutual understanding of each other's point of view. We'll both stick to our original belief and refute anything that goes against that. Eventually, it gets too late, or we get too frustrated, or something else comes in the way, and said conversation will end abruptly. The next morning, I'll wake up early to the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. When I open my eyes, I see my dad standing in the doorframe. He walks over to me, and I sit up to give him a hug. We embrace each other tightly, both of us not saying a word. In just a few seconds, our silent hugs say more than our hours of arguing were ever able to say. Love and actions of love can hold more power than words. No matter how hard either of us try to get the other to see where we're coming from, our stubbornness comes in the way. Our hug, however, can do that and more. Those early morning hugs before my dad leaves for work have acted as an adhesive in our father-daughter relationship, making up for our stubbornness and arguments. Followed by the photo.
Oh yeah. All right. We can't rob people of any photos of you for sure.
This one is so funny.
The fact that I'm in the photos is no reason not to show it. But yeah, so there's the snack, and this is the when we dressed up for a Girl Scout event to go bowling. We were the Super Bowlers, and this is a very playful photograph, of course, but you know. Abigail and I do butt heads all the time, and we have a long history of butting heads, and it hasn't always been that way. It just gets to a phase, right, where they scream for their independence, and we want to do a good job parenting, and everybody has the best intentions, but it's tough. I am outmatched because you're the apple that doesn't fall far from the tree, and you got all mom's skills too. So I'm completely overmatched, and I'm doing the best I can, and we're off to a good start. Let's jump some others into the conversation here to see, like, Sue or Charlie or Patty, what do you guys got? I mean, because, the thing about it, like I said, when I wrote this Kluby snack, I was thinking about the integrity game. I was thinking about 10 points on the integrity game model, 10 points. And it's love that keeps those 10 points together in the model, like the shoelaces for integrity game. So it's always fascinating to me as what I had in mind at the time. And then Abigail goes and it takes a different direction. So what about you guys? Kluby snack number one, when you have to keep it all together, love is the best adhesive. What's your response to the snack, or Abby's response to the snack, or anything you're experiencing so far tonight?
Who wants to jump in first?
Okay, you go, Patty.
Thanks. So I love the whole response and how you're kind of tongue in cheek, like how hard it must be for your dad to have you. I love that part.
Yeah.
But it's so true that if you add love to almost any situation, it just gets better. It's adhesive. Yes, it holds things together for sure.
Yeah. Like, thinking about it through the parenting, this is going to come up later on in the book where I make this expression, but like, I can't give up. I don't care how hard it is being a dad. I don't care how hard it is being a dad of teens. I don't care how hard it is being a dad of this teen. I'm not giving up. I'm gonna keep on. I don't care when it hurts. I don't care when I fail. I don't care how awkward and embarrassing. The alternative of like checking out and saying, "Well, screw it then." That's no option for me. What do you guys have to say? And by the way, there's still time if anybody wants to come online, tinyurl.com/KlubySnack1 if anybody wants to join the conversation. Sue, did you have something, or Charlie?
Yeah, just quickly for me, I was going to say you keep trying, you look for new ways, and I keep asking myself, what can I do differently? What can I do better that is going to make an impact and make a difference and be an expression of my love for my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Abby, by the way, it's fun to laugh at the smart alecky, the pain that my dad must go through knowing that his daughter outsmarts him all the time. But what you don't see Abigail doing, which I want to shine a light on, is that she was kind to me. She's talking about these arguments, and our stubbornness, and getting too late for us to ever imagine that anybody will see the other person's side. So we ultimately have to go to bed with things unresolved. and in the morning, yeah, the hug in the morning makes things better. But what she's not saying, because she's being kind to me, is that very often I'm going in there to apologize. And she didn't say that. That's not in the word. She's not saying my dad's coming in to apologize to me. She said my dad comes in to offer a hug. Either way, it's being vulnerable, and it's doing whatever it takes to own, whatever I need to own when it's uncomfortable, when it's hard to figure out how to pick your battles wisely, because you need to teach, and you need to make sure they understand the lessons, and you have respect, but also you can't lose sight of the fact that we don't understand what they're going through. And they may know things that we don't, and they may have perspectives that we don't. And we have to balance our authority with a healthy amount of listening. And I fail so often. And so, as I do so often in the mornings when you're kind enough to give me that forgiveness hug, I'm sorry, Abigail, for all of the ways that I fail. Like, I am so sorry. And I'm so glad that we're here, able to, process the emotions, tell the stories, share ourselves with our friends, and build some community around Klubi snacks. So who else? Charlie, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, Coach Jeff, having teens and when I what the stories he's having reading the book, you are very similar. And when you get two bulls in one crow, it's chaos. But at the end of the day, being a parent, you allow the other to be themselves and to mature accordingly. It's very sensitive how you play around this. What do you allow? What do you measure? And as you said, you don't know whether you're right or whether you're wrong. But most importantly, it's letting them be themselves. And I think Abby has taken, that staff and walked with it and said, no, it's not being disrespectful. I wouldn't really say it's outwitting or outsmarting. It's just saying, hey, I am me, allow me to be me. And then that is where the cohesiveness of love comes in, where even amongst friends, associates, coaches, there are different perspectives. And most importantly, it's allowing someone else to have, there's one of the Klubi snacks about allowing others, having their own perspective and being open to listen to it, and then, finding a common ground.
Oh, wait, hang on. Thank you, Charlie, by the way. Drum roll, please. Everybody say hello to Jennifer Horspool. Hey, she's in.
Hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer, I had a feeling that you might join us tonight, Jennifer, so I have a banner ready for you.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I'm backtracking now a little bit, but Jennifer, you had some of the kindest words in response and reaction to Klubi snacks. Like, you're some of the stuff that would pop off my phone or pop off the email, and I would stop what I was doing immediately. Like, Abigail, check this out. And you're like, Abigail's my kind of gal. And Abigail's like, oh, we like Jennifer. And so I'm happy. Let me back up a little bit. Abigail, Jennifer, Abigail.
Nice to meet you in person. I think I met you a few years ago at Disneyland.
I was there, yes.
Yeah, 2017. Am I hearing feedback, or is anybody else hearing feedback?
It's you. I don't hear it.
Somehow.
I think you might be in twice.
Oh, I am. Hold on. There we go.
Oh, no. Add to stage. Here we go. There you are.
Okay,
what's going on? All right.
There we go.
When we stop the music, that's when you're on. Okay.
Well, I was backstage for a while, and I kept trying to chime in, and I'm like, I think I'm just backstage only. And so
this is nice to have this many people in the studio. Like, I saw across the row. I'm like, I think I have everybody, but instead of going this way, it made a second row. So once I scrolled up a little bit, I'm like, oh, there she is. Oh, I found you.
Abigail, your perspective and your cockiness and your sassiness, like, I love all of it, right? And it goes perfectly hand in hand with you and your dad. I think your dad is absolutely a spectacular human being, an amazing communicator. His ability to take concepts and give people visualizations that they can walk through and piece it together, I think is one of the most brilliant things about him. And then you add that same flavor in there, but from a different perspective, you're like, no, Dad, no. I mean, it's very teenager of you and very fabulous of you. I think that you owned this book. You did such an amazing job. When I was reading it, I didn't even want to take a break. You know, I had to take a break because I have a whiner dog who likes to take walks a lot. You know what I mean? But I was like fully consumed. I read this thing in like no time. I was like so hungry for it. I thought you two played off of each other very, very well. And I see this thing exploding. Like, I really hope that we can bring it to a lot of places and really get people to see that perspective is everything in communication, right? Yep. How you receive it is indicative of your perception from the only lens that you have, which is your own perception. Mm-hmm. And so even flavors are that way, right? Like the way you see everything is how you're going to receive it, right? And I think that you've done a really great job where your dad thought it was one way and you were like, no, it's a whole nother way. And the magic is really in the fact that there's these different perceptions and there's a bridge in between as well. And those are the morsels, you know, those are the little morsels of greatness that make this recipe just absolutely spectacular. I was talking to your dad the other day and he has a food theme he kind of does throughout, you know, and I was like, oh, I never, like, he's a foodie, you know, I never knew he was such a foodie, but he credits your mom, you know, Marianne. So it's very cute. Thank you for having me to be a part of this.
Hey, Abigail, could you humor me for a minute and, like, you know, speak to your reaction, not just like using Jennifer as the springboard for this, like Jennifer specifically, or the accumulation as the advanced praise was coming in. I've shined a light on Jennifer's, but like, can you talk about your perspective of like, you'd get a text message from me, or I would come into your room to want to read something, or it was like, wait, do you want to read it? Do you want me to read it to you? Do you want me to just send it to you? But can you talk about how fun that was?
It was weird. It was weird. I don't remember what the first thing I wrote. I don't remember what the first one I read was, but I remember just being like, really? Like, really? It was like not like imposter syndrome, but just like really? Like, I don't, it was weird. I was like, it was weird to see somebody else read a book about like me and my dad's relationship and our, it's about us. And then like be able to apply it to themselves. I was like, wow, this is weird. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. It was just weird. The whole thing was weird. It was very imposter syndrome. I was like, do people really care about this? I'm like, are they lying? Like, nope. Like, and it was weird. It was so in denial for so long because I was like, there's no way that this is what people are saying that it is. Like, I can't imagine other people reading this.
Yeah, the humble side of your daughter.
Say that again, Jennifer.
The humble side of your daughter.
Well, you know, it's in there. It's in there. And I mean, you know, like, I don't know, like we've all been in the rooms where somebody's like, oh, you're left brain or you're right brain. It's like, yeah, I got a Klubeck snack here. You ready? I've never seen anybody walk into a room with half a brain.
Right.
Okay. And so all of our bravado, especially in my case, if I'm ever perceived as, like, normally I'm just a jackass or a jovial or what have you. But if I'm ever perceived as bravado, I guarantee you it's overcompensating for my insecurities. And you know, Abigail and I both get super vulnerable. One of the things I'm really proud of is, you know, how honest Abigail was able to be in these pages, that she would never allow herself to be in real time. Abigail, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to have trouble reading some of these out loud because there's so many things in here that I've never said out loud ever. A lot of the acknowledging my dad's efforts and me admitting that I'm wrong. Like, I don't think I've ever actually spoken those words. So it's weird. It's weird. And every time after I'd read a Klubeck snack, I would read it to my dad and he was like, wow. And he would acknowledge how I would like never said that. And I'm like, yeah, I never have. Like, that's weird. And it was like uncomfortable in a sense. I'm just like that. I'm writing a book. Like, a lot of things I'm writing about, I'm like, oh yeah, I've never been wrong. I'm always right. Like, I've never been wrong. And then I'm later writing about a time I was wrong. And I'm like, this is weird. But it's.
Well, yeah. Let me ask, was it just coming? Like, was it interesting for you to not feel triggered and not have your defense mechanism up? Like, I think that's an interesting thing that we could look forward to in future snacks. I mean, it's kind of weird how we've only one snack tonight. We got to wait till next week till snack number 2. I'm so happy to have the book to dive into. I reread and reread these things all the time. But like, were you consciously like, I'm going to fess up now?
No,
or what was it like?
No, I would just sit there, and it would kind of some of the Klubi snacks would take me a second to like figure out what I wanted to say, or like to try to figure out what my dad was even saying, and some of them would take longer. But once I started writing, I would just write the whole Klubi snack, and I wouldn't reread it until I read it out loud to him. So I was just kind of writing. I wasn't thinking. I was just kind of going, and it was very like stream of consciousness, like very therapeutic. And then I read it out loud to my dad, and I'm like cringing a little bit. I'm like, wow, like I'm admitting my faults, and I'm saying that I'm stubborn, and that like I'm just like, this is weird. This is weird. It felt very therapeutic, and I can tell it was for him because these are things that he's never heard me say. Like Dad, like when was the last time I told you that I was in the wrong or that I messed up? Like it doesn't.
The next time you tell me will be the first time.
Yep.
Yeah, and because it's I mean, it should go without saying. I mean, like, whoa, wait, I am a good dad. What? Wait a second. I was right about at least one of those. Wait a second. Like, she is hearing the calls in the background. All of these things emerge, and I've wrote about all of that in the introduction. I got really sappy, and it's funny too because originally I was thinking you guys like, hey, I'm going to write the snack, the Klubi snack, and then I'm going to have to write like a story or an anecdote, or I was going to make a blog like 400 to 500 words for each snack. I thought all of it was on me, and Abigail's like, no, I got it. I'm like, what? You're going to write a response to all of these? She's like, yeah. And like we got another story about the pulling teeth that was until we got into a rhythm. But Abigail like wrote most of these snacks in like less than 10 days. And at one point we didn't know if she was going to be able to get to all of them by publication date. So I'm like, well, do you want to write half a dozen and I'll write the other 7? Or how about I just write one? I'll write one for each, and then you only have 48, and we'll see where anyway. So it ended up being that she wrote responses to 12, and then I wrote a response or an explanation to 13, 26, 39, and 52. So the last snack of each baker's dozen is back to my language. So I introduced the section, the 12 snacks and her responses, and then we closed the section with a prominent snack for that section that I could use to wrap up and segue into the next section. I say all of that to say this. This is my 6th book and the least amount of writing I had to ever do. So I got it all out in the introduction, and boy, it's like, oh my God, Tom Petty. They used to talk about all these songs, these bands, these progressive bands in the 70s. Jennifer, you're going to be with me. Patty, you're going to be with me, Sue. All these like Yes and Rush and, Cream and all these, they have these 7-minute songs with all these weird funky intros with the keyboards and all of that. And Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are like, don't bore us, get to the chorus. And they would just pump out the hits, baby. Less is more. And I am so in admiration of Tom Petty because I don't have that skill. And so I'm a 70s band in the introduction. Let's put it that way.
No, I was
like
thinking about
the
that.
low spark of high heeled boys or something, whatever. Hey, go ahead, Abby.
No, we had this conversation when I was really falling behind on writing my part of it. And some of it was because it was like not draining, but I would write one and then I was like, I'm done. Like that was it was a slow process in the beginning. And then my dad I was going to leave one day to go hang out with my friends, and my dad was like, I think we might have to go halvesies on this, like you write half and I write half. And that was terrifying because I'm just picturing the introduction like multiple of the I was like, no, nobody, like, I love you, Dad, like nobody needs that. I just like, that is terrifying. And I was like, oh no, I need to get this done. Like I was like, no, I don't think that's what we need. And then that's what motivated me to like get the last few done. Cause I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I saved the readers a little bit. You're like, oh yeah, what if we just, I do 6 of each and then we'll do half. So it's half your writing, half mine. I was like, oh no.
She's like, you could go last after my brilliant songs for a full dozen, but Abby knows best, right? I mean,
I love the pushback, Abby. That's like leadership skills right there, man. Leadership skills. Yeah. And that's what I see throughout this entire book is I think executives could learn a lot from these 52 Klubi snacks. And I think elementary students, I think sports teams, I think any organization anywhere can take these 52 Klubi snacks and look at from their own perspective what you guys are saying, and then what they're going to contribute to it. How does it affect them, and what do they see, and how do they apply it within their organization?
Yeah, I had a brilliant conversation with you yesterday to understand your vision for that. Like, I was so close to it. Like, it's some therapy for me. I haven't gotten necessarily into practical, tangible application, applied versions, but I see it way more clearly now. And the one thing I did know is that I wrote the Klubi snack with so much in mind, and then when Abigail interprets it and writes about it, it's now totally different than what I had in mind. So that's got to be true. It's like we can. And the other thing too, the beauty of the parable, like you talked about, who moved my cheese. The beauty of the parable, it's a story about somebody else. So we all can read a story about somebody else, and our defenses aren't up. I remember that from the E-Myth Revisited, right? Where the story about Sarah who baked the best pies in town, and then somebody said, hey, you should start your own pie shop. So she starts her own pie shop. So I was like, oh, cool. Like I'm a solopreneur making all these mistakes, but we're not talking about me with my guard up. We're talking about Sarah. So I'm leaning in and like, oh, that's trying to teach me. So like it brings my guard down to read about Sarah, but now I'm in the conversation. I'm able to actually be reflexive and learn from Sarah about what's going on in my life. And I think that's what you're trying to say, Jen. Like we can go into companies and teams and we could say, hey, look, forget about your problems for a minute. Okay.
Right.
Imagine raising this girl. Okay. You got problems. I got problems. So check out our story. Here's the snack. Here's what she thought of it. Guess what we learned while we were going through it together. Now break into 4 teams and you guys respond to these snacks and share your answers and don't come out until you've grown. Right. I mean, in a nutshell, right? That's what you're talking about.
Right. I mean, it's because it's about perception. It's going back to the perception, right? Like, we all look at everything through our own lens. That's the only lens we get to see things. And we see things so differently that's really where the magic is. Like, that's how the world works. Like, I come from this family of engineers. I don't see anything the same way they do. I don't know how they come up with the things they do. They're so left-brained, right? They stole all my left-brain genes. But it's the brilliance of people coming at things from a different angle, which is where the whole world starts to work better, right? Yeah. And that's where communication really starts to happen. It's also where communication breakdown happens, because we're seeing things through our own lens. And that's what you and Abby address on a regular basis, is the controversy of seeing things from different angles. I think Abigail deserves all the credit there. To be honest with you, I think she deserves all of the credit. When that comes through, if somebody says, like Laura Leach, shout out to Laura Leach. I thought she might be here tonight, so I had a banner prepared for her too. Oh, isn't that cute? Come on, you guys. Anyway, my point is, what I'm getting at is, let me just rub the ticker again and just thank everybody. Okay, so the idea is, Laura was like, the magic of this book is how their voices combine. Yeah. Well, but that's like almost an illusion. It's really Abigail is the magic of this book, because these Klubi snacks were written. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't write them with her. I didn't write them for her. They were written. It's just I asked her to go through them. She found the ones that she can lock in on. And then from those, I just started to weave themes or flavors and through lines, right? But she's also like, no, Dad. Yeah. Yeah, no. Like, I'm just like, no. That's you would rewrite them or rephrase them, or something about this isn't right. There's another one about strategic thinking creates ideas, and then it's the one that you saw, Jennifer. It's the one that I actually, after the fact, I knew what you were talking about, but go ahead. Yeah, I was talking about that, and it said something else. It said something about like decisions or something. It was like something, and I was like, this is not right. And you're like, well, you pulled it, like it's one of the ones you picked, and I was like, yeah, but something's wrong. And I was like, I was like throwing ideas at you. So there's some that I was like, I get what he's trying to say, but it should be strategic thinking creates. He said strategic thinking creates decisions, and you were like, no, it creates ideas. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and then then critical thinking. And you're like, those ideas then become and so that's where the creativity comes. Yeah, and it was an excellent edit. Yeah, and Abigail, did you feel like you never feel any hesitation to speak your mind? I know that, but did you feel resistance from me, or did you feel like me paying more, like concentrating on like was I trying to preserve my original ideas and words, or was I making space and room? There was one time when you were like, I think I was like trying to edit too many of them, and you're like, okay, like reminder. Slow down. No, you're like, reminder. These are my Klubi snacks, and you're writing on them. And I was like,
okay. I just like think that, okay, cool. Fine, I'm trying to help you, but okay, cool. And then I don't remember which Klubi snack it was, but I almost certain we ended up switching it out later. There was like I don't there's one of like the last few that I had to write on, and it was like one of the first ones that I was like, this should be changed. And you're like, Abby, like you're writing on them, but I'm the one who it's my Klubi, and I was like, okay.
I think
But
you guys addressed that.
it was very like I'd be like, I think this should be this, and you'd be like, oh yeah, and then I was like, yep, I'm right.
The process was wonderful. There's a couple of other special things in here, but I do want to. I'm moving. We're like, wow, I can't believe how the time flies. There's one other thing I wanted to share, and I want to make sure that I'm going to screen share on this. Are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. Hey, look at that. We are 4 days in a row the #1 new release in parenting girls. Like, Charlie, be honest with me, man. When, and let me open it. Let me see if you're, Charlie, hang on. Let me open up your mic. Charlie, all the years that you were collecting Klubi snacks, did you ever think the first book version would be a parenting girls version? I mean, I don't think there's any way we could have thought that, but.
Not in the slightest. And you know, as I had mentioned, that you also allowed Abby to be herself,
yeah,
and get a different perspective and get a bit of a balance. But what I thought this book would be more on personal development, mindset, coaching. That's where you are in, right? But I never even thought it would be a parenting book, and more likely a father-daughter kind of relationship bonding type of book. I did not even think about it.
It's very fun, just so you guys know, if you can still see my screen. Do you see how it says Amazon hot new releases? Yeah. It was very fun to like, I made like when I went on my campaign, the post, Klubi snacks are coming. Klubi snacks are coming. Every post I did, it was like starting with Klubi snacks are coming. And then finally I got to say, and they're coming in hot, right? And it's just like, it's a little thing. It's like, you really don't have to sell that many books to get onto these lists, but it's still a thing. The power of this little orange banner to see like, wow, among all of the books that have been released, right, since Thursday, in parenting girls category, Abby and I have been at #1 for 4 days running. We fell out twice, but we got back in twice. And I've been texting direct messages to people selling these books. I'm asking everybody that I have a direct relationship with. I'm letting my fingers do the talking. I'm personally reaching out and appealing to everyone. And Abigail's like, cool, you woke up Thursday morning, you were an author. And by Thursday night, you were a best-selling author. It's really cool. And back to what Charlie was saying real quick, letting Abigail be herself. It's not even just like letting kind of, this is so.
You don't have a choice.
Well, yeah, I don't have a, first of all, don't have a choice, but
as
second
if I needed
all,
like permission to like.
No. It's, but the thing is, it's more than just letting, not because I don't have a choice, but what I'm doing, I'm telling you, like I was so intentional about this and introducing Abby Klubeck. Can everybody see that? It doesn't say Jeff Klubeck and Abby Klubeck, or Jeff and his daughter Abby, or no, it's like an introducing. Like I'm very conscious of like, watch out, world, here she comes. And you know, as difficult a time as my wife has had dealing with me, or as I've had dealing with Abigail, watch out, world, here comes my girl. And world, you may not be as forgiving as mom and I were. You may, be alpha in your own right, but get ready for Abby because she's making her mark on this world, introducing Abby Klubeck. So that's part of it. It's not just letting her be, but I'm trying to like push this out into the world. Like the world needs to know you, Abby. That's all I know. So
does Amazon have a category for raising the parent?
Well, that's the 50-second snack. That's Klubi snack number 52 is, although my children are doing a really good job, it's hard to raise your parents. And that's one of the things that comes through the book is I learned so much. I grew so much in the last 3 months. Every moment of like Charlie said earlier, the careful give and take of discipline and parenting versus let them be. And you know, nobody has the answers, and you gotta, you know, so like more than writing a book, I was like producing a book. I was dealing with I was talent management and dealing with the vendors. Like literally, Jennifer, can you believe it? Like I'm not an author. I'm managing, you know, a diva. That's what I'm doing here. Like, hey, diva, you have any room in your calendar to like do what your idea? Oh, Dad, you want me to write a book in 2 months? Wait a second. I thought I stopped what I was doing to make. Wait a second. What are we doing here? Okay, we got it done. So it's an amazing accomplishment, and
it's going to be fun to see now that you've written the book and you're now going to, you know, share every week about it. It's going to be interesting to see how you both grow from it.
Yeah. We're already aware of that, by the way. Abigail, do you want to talk about when we were doing the video? Like I recorded videos of us talking about the cover design and giving revisions to the cover designer and working with our editor, explaining the concept and approaches. I recorded it, and then my video editor, I recorded my video with him where I was explaining to him these videos that we're recording and all the little reels, clips, and shorts. Have you guys seen these little 1 minute pops that I've been putting, right? And Abigail, one of them, go ahead, is it's about how you see like you're already aware that by the time we're reading like snack, you can pick this up. Let's say snack 44, or snack 47, or snack 39, or whatever week of the year it is in August when you're in Fordham. Like, you guys, later on this year, she's going to be in New York City in her dorm room at 11 o'clock at night, looking out into the city that never sleeps, reading a snack that she wrote a year ago that means something completely. She's going to be like, oh my God, I was so young back then. We already know what's going to happen. Abigail, can you speak to that?
Yeah, we were talking about kind of like the future of Klubi snacks, but I was asked specifically what I see in its future. And we're talking about that because it's weird. Like this, we wrote this book, and then we're gonna be reading it for the next 52 weeks. But in those next 52 weeks, there's so much changing within my like personal life, within my dad, but then also within our connection. Like right now, he's right below me right now. He's downstairs right below me. Yep. And then
there's a story. You guys know the Brady Bunch thing with the
no.
We do. No, Abby, we do.
Jennifer, Sue, Patty, Abigail.
It turns the wrong way for everybody. It's okay.
So
but in August 24th, which is not that far away, it won't take 8 months away. Like I'm gonna be on the East Coast. Like it's a whole new thing. Like we're gonna be dealing with him with all his separation
anxiety,
all of it, and it's happening now. It's present now, and I'm still here. But there's so much that's like going to be changing within them. There's so many like new perspectives that I'll be able to develop and new things I'll be able to say. So there's, I don't know. We were talking about is it like either I within the next year, I'm like taking note of my own Klubi snacks, my own things, and it's like it can become my own personal thing, or it's just another version where I just now have completely new things to say. It's a new full new thing. I don't know. There's so much that as I grow, as we grow, the book grows too, and there's so much that gets added and changes and develops throughout it. So it'd be cool to continue it.
It sets up so nice for like things like new and improved Klubi snacks, you know, or Klubi snacks volume 1, volume 2, or Klubi snacks daddy daughter edition, or Klubi snacks freshman in college edition, or Klubi snacks marketing, sales, PR edition, or like that's one of the things that's interesting. You guys know that I have over 100, right? So like the other ones that didn't make it into the book are the ones that deal with business, you know, sales, marketing, right? Operations, or even from our book, Sue, all of those Klubi snacks about bring out your brand, and all those Klubi snacks about speaker audience relationship. I have all those Klubi snacks from our book that didn't make it in. You know, so we can put together professional volumes that appeal to target audiences, and we can gamify this. And it's amazing. Like as shocked as I was on the at the dinner table with Abigail, like the simplicity of, oh my God, baker's dozen, 13 times 4, 52. Oh my God, that's perfect. As revolutionary as that simplicity was, it happened to me again on the phone with you yesterday or Friday, Jen, when we realized, oh my God, there's 52 cards in a deck of cards. And so now I can imagine Klubi snack decks of cards where the suits are loving, ego, discipline, integrity. You put the snack on there, But the only thing that they're missing is Abigail's response. So you deal the cards out and you make the executives and the team members come up with their own responses, share their findings, find the similarities, bridge the gaps, and now you've got the whole thing sets up. It's incredible. And so back to like, Abigail's interpretation of these snacks is different than what I had in mind when I wrote it. No problem. Surrender to that and watch it where it goes. But Abigail's already aware that 2 months from now, she might not respond to the same stack the same way that she did in November.
Yeah.
And
Even
that
now,
makes it
now.
juicy and gifted. Even now, right? You wouldn't.
Yeah, there's
right?
like the spoiler alert, but like the second snack, I'm talking about me going to college, and I'm like the whole time, I'm like, hopefully next year I'll be living in New York City. Hopefully I'll be in college on the East Coast next year, because I had no clue. And then just a few weeks ago, like now I know. It's like, which changed a lot. Now it's like it's weird, but there's so much in this short amount of time since I've written it till now that it's changing.
Even in the introduction, we didn't edit it. It says, as of this writing, it could be Syracuse, it could be UMass, it could be University of Rhode Island, it could be Ole Miss, it could be Long Beach State, it could be Fordham. And I have it. I'm on record, Abigail. It's in the book. I think it's going to be Fordham. I called it. I knew you were getting into Fordham. But anyway.
What are you studying?
Journalism on a pre-law track.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yep. Thanks, Dad.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Rising freshman. And so, and then by the end of the book, when we did her author's bio, we were able to say Abigail will be attending Fordham University this fall. But when we started writing, we didn't know.
No.
So that's a icon of like time's undefeated. Our experiences are going to keep moving. And Kluby snacks, they're a gift that keep on giving. Like I wrote something today and sent it out to my database, right? Sometimes in life the cookies crumble, but I want to kind of put it like Kluby snacks never crumble, right? They're always solid sources of easy and fun ways to look within and grow and evolve and make meaning and make sense of this world and connect with others. And that's why I love snack time. We're one down and 51 to go. So Sue, are you ready? Drum roll. Please, Sue knows what's coming. Drum roll, please. Last call for comments, questions, jokes, riddles, haikus, limericks, or expressions of gratitude. Last call before we wrap up tonight's session.
This.
Welcome to, I want to say Get A Klu in 52, but this year's version. Welcome to Kluby Snacks, snack time. So who has something to say to wrap us up? Anybody else have last call, last words before we wrap up for tonight and I get my daughter to sleep? It's a school night. Oh God.
Yeah, congratulations again to you both, and it's just lovely to be part of this conversation. I'm really interested to see how like we were just talking about how you both grow, the conversations that are going to come up week on week, and Abby, how your perspective changes too as you go through an amazing year ahead of you. So yeah, it's really exciting to be part of it.
Yeah, the only thing that's going on right now is the most important time of our lives. That's all that's going on right now. Nothing, no big deal. Anybody else have last words, last call, comments, questions, jokes?
I think this is the beginning, Abby. I'm excited to watch you grow. I think that you have the quits and the wit and the intelligence, and I think you can change lives. I think you can change perceptions. I think you can enlighten people. And I know humbleness is not really one of your traits, but that's fine. That's fine.
That'll come later. Don't worry. You got time, plenty of time for that.
Yeah. Do realize the world is much meaner than it can be, So that tough skin is going to be needed sometimes. You don't have to let other people's perception of anything falter you. And it doesn't sound like you ever have. And so I hope that you keep that and keep coming from your heart and doing what you say, what you think. And don't be afraid to listen to other people. That doesn't mean that you have to obey or take their advice. Mm-hmm. People all the time say, why'd you ask for my advice if you're not going to take it? Well, because I wanted to weigh it. It doesn't mean I have to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how much of an idiot you really are is what I really want. No, I'm joking. No,
but it's learning different angles, right? Like I'm in 100. PR, right? Like our whole thing is to cover every angle of the way people think. So I have to understand the way people think. And I think the deeper you get into projects like this, hopefully this is one of many between you and your father, and you'll see not, your own growth, but your own perception growing, because you're going to learn more perspectives because other people are going to feed them to you.
It's wonderful. Wonderful, yeah. Wonderful. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Anybody else? Last call for, hang on. Go ahead, Patty.
I just want to say thank you to everybody tonight. I like these Klubi snacks because they're calorie free. I really am going to be enjoying seeing everybody read the book and delve into these Klubi snacks. And Charlie has been, always wanted to know what's the Klubi snack here.
Yeah, well now like there it is. We've got one front and center. It's like they're not in the background. They're not at the tail end.
Right.
Finally, Klubi snacks are front and center.
Right there.
And 1 down and 51 to go. What else, you guys? Who else has a comment to wrap us up tonight? Anybody else have anything in the last call section of our live stream?
I'm on mute, Coach Jeff.
No, you're on. No, I got you, Charlie.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for bringing such an exciting book together. And congratulations, Abby. Since we've met, since I got to know about you, you're still a little girl up on the stage and doing the school plays and all that. And I said, this looks like a little bit of dynamite coming here. So, watch out, world.
Yeah.
Here comes a bombshell. And, there's so much similarity between you and your dad that I've noted within reading this book. It's how you write. And I think that journalism is actually a good direction that you're going to go into. And we're going to read quite a lot of good stuff from you. So
Thanks,
well
Charlie.
done. Congratulations, Coach Jeff and Abby.
Thank
well
you.
done. And this is just the first ingredient in a series of Klubi snacks. I'm trying to think about, when you put a cookie together, there's a whole lot of ingredients, salt, baking. So there's, as Coach Jeff said, it's going to go to leadership, sales, marketing, because in these Klubi snacks, there's a whole lot of categories, and I'm sure Abby must have had quite the time sorting through them all to say, where does this really have real essence in what my dad is trying to do here?
Yeah,
so thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome, Charlie. It's like, I don't know about you, Abby, but for me, like that part was like effortless or weightless when we were sitting together and you were telling me what numbers and I was scratching on the pad and kind of like just putting a puzzle together. But
it would be better if you went through your own Klubi snacks, you'd be like, oh, it's all great. Like, how do I put all of these in here somehow? But like me being me, and then also hearing these for so many years, it's like, then it's like, oh, I actually like this one. Oh, I've heard this one. It makes sense. Some of them also just didn't apply. There was a lot of like the business sales, whatever ones. I'm like, skip. Like, I have nothing to say about that. Like that can be saved for later. But like, it was easy to kind of go through that. But then I thankfully I wasn't part of the what category does this go into process. I did not have any part in that.
Yeah, that part just happened kind of, I want to say effortlessly. The 4 flavors emerged. It's one of my favorite memories of the whole project is that magic when do we have 52 yet? Okay. And then I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, oh, well, and I'm just scratching words. And
on an actual notepad. This happened on an actual notepad.
Yeah, I have it right here. Right beside me, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it is just anyway, lots of organic, effortless stuff. Like this book is supposed to happen. Like as conscious I am about decisions that I'm making, I also feel like I'm being puppeteered by something larger. Not to get too weird on anybody, but that's what it feels like. Some of this has just been so effortless the way it's come together. But here we are on last call. Does anybody else have anything before we wrap up? A very successful. My huge thanks to everybody's name who's scrolling across the bottom for all the ways that you helped us get here. But tonight to Charlie and Sue and Patty, Jennifer, And anybody out there watching on social media, sometimes we see the eyeball counter going. My thanks to you for chiming in. 1 down and 51 to go. Anybody else have anything else before
I have one more because I wanted to say it was about Kluby snack number 1, which is when you really need to keep it all together, love is the best adhesive. And it's like forgiveness it's always a word I struggle with, but forgiveness is in love. And love, that's the forgiveness is the adhesive. If you can forgive, you can maintain a unity. But without forgiveness, there's a divide. And so to me, that really pulls it together.
We're going to talk about hold on to that thought. If you're with us when we get to a snack later on, forgiveness, forgiveness would be easy if we didn't have to admit we were guilty first, right? Like in other words, later on in the book, I talk about the only problem with apology and forgiveness is the guilty verdict that they both require.
Right.
And so the love being the willingness to be guilty so that I can get to reconnection, so I can get to love again. All right, if guilty is what I have to be and I have to apologize and admit, then even if I'm not forgiven, at least I've done my part and I know I'm loving, right? And so I'm vulnerable when I apologize because I might not be forgiven, or I'm vulnerable when I forgive because I might be hurt again over the same. All of it, Jennifer, all of that vulnerability is the love that we're talking about. But you're right to dial in on forgiveness, because so much of this project is me begging for my daughter's forgiveness, because I know that there's not a parent on the planet that hasn't made a mistake, myself included. I made so many mistakes. There's so many things that I'm so sorry for. And I just, I'm always begging for my daughter's forgiveness, and I never want to do anything that threatens the relationship, which makes the parenting really hard, because I got to be the dad. I got to be the parent. So you guys, the funny part about this is like, hey, when does she leave? When am I no longer have to? Right. Oh my God. You're out of here. When? When are you fully an adult? I don't have to worry about disciplining you anymore. I don't know. Like, what time are you home and all of that stuff? When does that part of life start? Where, anyway.
It never ends, FYI.
Yeah. I know I'm fooling myself, but the point is that we're all here for the same reason. Tonight, you guys, it's love. It's a love that we're all sharing, and makes me very happy to introduce my daughter into the mix and to help her be public facing and to create content and add stuff to her resume and show her what it's like to produce a book, and these little wins of like, put author on your resume, put best-selling author on your resume.
Put her back in the mainstream.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, go. There she is.
You go.
Her. Anyway, you, Abby,
Yeah.
And it's all of that. It's all of that, and then some. And then of course it's funny too, because one of the little videos was Abby says Dad's sneaky way of like his in. Like, I'm like, hey, if you want to do this book with me, then you're agreeing to the live streams. And I knew that means I get to be FaceTime with my daughter once a week for the year. In the year that she's moving out, her senior year, when she's busier and got to get every last minute in with all of her friends before they all disconnect from each other. So mom and dad were last place in her social agenda for sure. And then next year when she's a freshman, she's going to have to get to tell all of her friends, hang on, I'll be with you in 35 minutes. I just got to do a Kluby snack thing. What? What's that? Oh, you guys, in August, she's going to have 27 people from Fordham University joining our live streams, right? Because anyway, the whole thing's going to be cool. No, it's not going to happen like that, Abby. Your friends aren't going to join us live. What? It's love. It's love. It's the adhesive. It keeps us all together. Anyway,
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Dad's colleagues, your dorm mates. Come on, it's all the big.
I think that's time.
I'm totally joking. Borders, boundaries. I know. All right. Anyway, hear all the laughter. Hear all the laughter is very fun. All right. We're definitely at last call now. Anybody else?
You,
I think
you on your own way, Coach Jeff. The what that Abby does, she just went like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, Abby's got it under control. All right, you guys. I can't thank you enough for helping us kick things off, for being here to support Abby and I. It means the world to me. And Abby, I love you more than you'll ever know. And we'll do this all again next week. Yep. Kluby snack number 2. It's a heavy Kluby snack. I can't wait for you to join us. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.
Good morning from South Africa.
Congratulations, Abby.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night, Charlie. Thank you.
Good night, Patty. Good night, Sue.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
You're the best.